Hello and welcome to another episode of the Counterplay Archive. Today we're going to be going over the probably highly anticipated character, 2B. She's pretty weird to deal with, especially since, thanks to her being a guest character, she, functions a little bit differently than the rest of the cast. So I'm going to try to cover some of that stuff and explain it a little well, and, give you guys some answers that you may have been looking for in dealing with this character. So yeah, without further ado, let's get right into the video. So, starting off with this character's normals, to start off, just wanted to point out that her normals are different, as anybody who has either messed with the character or has fought the character. But yeah, her normals are different compared to the rest of the cast. This mainly being in the fact that she has no proximity normals at all, and then she can also cancel an auto combo on Whiff into from any of her standing normals. For example, Grand, if you're too far away from your opponent, you get far M. If you're right here, close to your opponent, you got close M. For 2B, that isn't the case. This is just M, doesn't change whether she's point blank or half screen away. This does not change, and with that, you can see I go Grand. I'm trying to press this. I can't link into my auto combo unless I connect with a close normal. And you see right here, I'm still getting far M. However, 2B, she can continue her auto combo regardless of if she connects with her opponent or not. As you can see, stuff like that. So this is something to keep in mind in general for all her normals, because her utilizing this feature is something that you're gonna see a lot of 2U players do, no matter what level of play you are playing at. And another thing, just to go before we go into the specifics of her different variations of like normal levels, all her normals can be canceled at any point in time to a certain follow-up based off of the other button that is pressed. So just to show these off, from her L auto combo, she can either go into her M follow-up, which does this. And there's two versions of this. One, if she doesn't press anything afterwards, or another, if she holds. You see, if she doesn't press anything afterwards, she shoots this, and if she holds, she just goes back without shooting it. And then the H follow-up, which is like the bat, where she spawns a little projectile thing, and then she can either hit it or not. And if she does hit it, it travels full screen. From her M standing normal, she has the same follow-up as you would if you did L normal into M. It functions the same. And then she has this follow-up, which is more of a combo ender, and you won't see this typically on block unless it's a misinput. As you can tell by the -15, it's not something that they're going to be throwing out for fun. And then for the H version, you cancel into L, you get the bat thing, and you do the M follow-up. It's the same as if you did like MH. So it's kind of, there's similarities in inputs. As you can see, if I do the L into M and I do H into L, it's like the same thing. Same thing if I were to do L into M or H into M, or not H into M. L into M or M into L, they have the same properties. But then M into H or H into M is always the same. So if you want to kind of think of it like that, you follow up, if you do a certain like combination, no matter like what the no matter what the order is, it will come out into the same thing. So kind of keep note of those options, because when she does a certain move, then, you know, one of the two options aren't available because that combination is no longer, you know, she's unable to do that combination with that starter of normal. Got to go into like specifics on her normals, like frame data and stuff like that. We're gonna start off just really quickly going through every single one of her like normals and like follow-ups afterwards, as like I mean like auto combo follow-ups. So to start off, her close L is 6 framers, but she's +2. Her 2L is 6 frames -2. Her auto combo 2 off of a flight is -2, and then her complete follow-up is -6, but then she could do one more afterwards. For a 4, she's also -6. So yeah, I'm not gonna go over like auto like punishes for every single normal because that's gonna take forever. But by now, if you've seen a lot of these videos, you know what I'm gonna recommend. Figure out your 6 frame normal in this situation if that were to ever happen, although I doubt it will. Next, into her M normals. Standing M -10 if it's not cancelled. Second follow-up -8 if it's not cancelled. Third follow-up is -8 if it's not cancelled. And the whole thing is -8. Don't mistake this for this follow-up. As you can see, it doesn't have that beginning animation, that the first extra swipes before she like spins. She just goes straight to the spin, which is also -8. So yeah, 2M is 8 frames, and it's -5. It's a mid, but it's pretty decent range. Although it's definitely not forward advancing like her standing M. It's pretty big. So yeah, just move to keep in mind, because a lot of people will be like, you know, all these buttons, but then, you know, you'll forget about her normal, like normals. So to her H normals, you have H1, which is -10 on block, H2, which is also -10 on block, and H3, which, who guessed it, is also -10 on block. So, and then her follow-up right here is also -10 on block. So if they decide not to cancel this, then you can punish it with normal if you're close enough. At least she usually could use this in a range where most characters cannot punish it. But yeah, just keep in mind of your options. Again, if you have a 10 frame or faster option that can catch one of these on like on no cancel, then by all means go ahead. Next, going into her 2H. Her 2H is massive. As you can see, this goes above the health bar, which is kind of insane, and it's pretty fast. First active on 11 frames. So this is a very big and like normally like timed normal. Like even Grand's is 11 frames, and this is like half the size of 2V's. So yeah, something to keep in mind. Before we go into her uniques, we're going to go over her air normals, because her air normals are unique in its own right. Her JL recently can actually be like chained into itself. So yeah, that's something good to know. I'm unsure if like I don't think if anybody has found any like decent use for this. So like this is kind of like a really like an okay, not even okay, it's kind of bad air normal, especially compared to her other ones. But it's just something to keep in mind. I don't think there's like multiple, like she can hit you multiple times depending on like, you know, your character height, maybe like your Versusio. And even then, I don't think they all count as like overheads, if that is what you're worried about. Next, into her JM. Her JM is a decent like air-to-air normal. It's the first active frame is 6 frames if you're like close enough, but it isn't too big. At least like horizontally. So it's not that crazy as an air-to-air, not that long, but it's pretty fast, so it's just something to keep in mind. It's a decent air-to-air, like I said, but it's not like godlike. What is godlike, however, is her 5H. This move, if you have ever played Smash, or Smash 4, or Smash Ultimate, Cloud Nair. This is certainly Cloud Nair in its truest form. This move is massive in the front and also hits behind her. So, yeah, it's something to be wary of, especially with her other like air gimmick, which I'll go over when I go over uniques. This move is definitely something to be worried about, just due to how massive it is. So yeah, if you haven't already, you'll be seeing this move a lot when you fight this character. Next, into her unique. Her unique is a parry and also acts as a dash. She has two like different like inputs for the parry. She can start her dash with a 6U, and as you can see, it has parry on the startup, and then she can just full sprint at you like that, and then her little like back dash, which is very minus, but it's it's a parry, so it is what it is. It can also be cancelled off of normals at the cost of her skill gauge. As you can see, it regenerates pretty fast because it's in training mode. As you can see, she uses 4 skill gauge bars in order to cancel this dash off of a normal. So if you played her a lot, you've probably seen stuff like this, where she'll cancel like something and like try to keep her turn and stuff like that. Show off the parry in action. See something like that, and then yeah, she can get a punish depending on like how like minus this normal is. She can get like an actual like punish with one of her normals, but if she doesn't, she has a follow-up that can automatically punish certain normals as long as they are minus enough. So just went into 2B myself to kind of show off the follow-up. So she can act immediately after this, like with a normal, and depending on how minus it is, she can follow up with her own normal. But if that's not possible, then she has a follow-up built into this parry, which will do it for her. Like I said, just because she parries it doesn't mean it is punishable. Examples of this commonly seen in her parrying lights. So whenever that will happen, then you see the follow-up is unable to punish, and she is minus 12 off of the follow-up. So she does mistakenly do a follow-up trying to punish on a parry that shouldn't connect, then you can get a punish for it. Also something to note, that her parry is not a true reversal. So something like this, I have it set to have her parry on wake up. As you can see, she gets counter hit. So yeah, do not worry about this move happening on wake up. If she could do this on wake up, that'd be pretty broken. Yeah, that's just something to keep in mind. It's not a valid wake up option. Next, before we hit the skies, we're gonna have to talk about her 2U. 2U, I wouldn't say it is anything too special. It's pretty good frame data for how fast it is. Or not how fast it is, for how big it is. It is 8 framer. They cover a decent distance, like right about right here. So it's something to keep in mind of, you'll be worrying about all these standing normals, but her crouching normals are pretty decent in their own right. So now, we'll move into the air with her JU. Her JU allows her to stall in the air. Before this had a timer, but I forgot how long they changed this. But They did change this to where she can be in the air as long as she has skill and, you know, doesn't hit the ground. So as you can see, if she's in the air, she's holding this skill, like, rapidly depletes. So yeah, she can be in the air as long as she wants until her skill gauge runs out completely, and then she'll just like drop off. And since this counts as a unique property that I haven't mentioned yet, we're gonna cover it now. She can double jump in the air, which is not something that characters in this game can typically do, unless, you know, you have some type of other like air mobility, such as like an air dash, like Vera and install and stuff like that. But none actually have a double jump. That is something 2B has, which makes her a lot harder to deal with in the air, because she can kind of just be in the air and then this move just patrols the skies. So, however, a unique trait is that when she does double jump, she can no longer block in the air. So for example, I'm gonna jump and hold block button. You can see she has, you know, her unique blocking animation like that. If I were to double jump and then hold block, if I can get the double jump out, as you can see, she can no longer block in the air, which means she's susceptible to all types of attacks. No matter if your attack is air unblockable or not, she cannot deal with this after she double jumps. It also goes for when she does her air stall right here. She is no longer allowed to block. So, yeah, you can go for some stuff that you normally, you know, wouldn't be able to be blocked in the air, but you can't, can no longer be blocked by her since she opted in to go for a double jump. But yeah, there's no, like, timing restrictions on when she can double jump. She can double jump at any time, anywhere, as long as she's in the air. And she can air stall from it, no matter what. But as you can see, her double jump does take a skill gauge as well. So she can't necessarily do it for free, although it feels like she always has skill gauge. So yeah, it's just something to keep in mind, because if you haven't already played this against this character, anyone who has can tell you this is done a lot because of just how good this combination of air stall and this move is. And another move in the air that she can do, which isn't used a lot but it can be used to stall a little more, is when she is in pod, she can do JU to stall even more. It kind of is just this is an attack, but it's not seen very often, so I wouldn't say worry about it too much. So yeah. So just in general, against this character, unless you have a very reliable way to deal with her in the air, I would say that trying to anti-air normally is extremely risky. I can't even say normally. Just trying to anti-air her or get her out of the air in general is very risky unless you have a very good like air-to-air button. Because normally 2H's are not the best on Whiff. As you can see, -40 is not great. So yeah, anti-airing her by normal means is probably off the table for most people unless you have a really good read. Like I said, if you have a good air-to-air, this is really good when trying to deal with her in the air, because she's going to try to be in the air a lot because it throws off a lot of game plans. Even trying to go for air throw is risky just due to her double jump, and normal like jumps just don't reach that high. So you can't just whiff and you can like die for it. So like I said, trying to go for an air-to-air or an anti-air, just trying to get her out of the air in general, is very, very risky. Just due to, like I said before, how big this freaking normal is and being able to catch everything in front of her and behind her if you are unable to do so. So I'd say figure out what your character has to kind of cover the skies, and like how good your air-to-air normals are to try and deal with her in the air. Because once she uses her double jump, she's like she can't block anything, which is, like I said, something to keep in mind if you do have a good air-to-air, which is why having a good air-to-air is amazing. Because no matter what, if she uses that resource to double jump, she can no longer block in the air, which gives you a pretty free opening if you can find it. Yeah, this is something that has no universal answer. This is just something you're going to have to find out for yourself. Figure out what your character has to kind of cover the skies and try to deal with her approaches. So moving on into her skills, 2B is unique as a guest character as she doesn't have any skill icons, but she instead uses a skill gauge which lets her use any move at the cost of whatever skill it costs until that runs out, and then she can't use any more. Every move has its fixed set of like skill gauge usage, and yeah, that's just how this character works. And instead of each individual cooldowns, she has one big cooldown, one big gauge that manages all her skills. Starting off, her 2360 or this kind of pod Gatling thing on block. This is always -4 for her. Given the right distance, you can spot dodge this and just cancel it off with a normal, something like this. But if she's too close, then this is not spot dodgeable, so do keep that in mind. However, this used to be punishable before. However, with the recent patch, for some reason, they decided to make this safe on Whiff. As you can see, -5 is nothing that any character from this range can do anything about, unfortunately. So with the risk that spot dodge holds on kind of guessing on this character in the corner, it's kind of not worth the risk, I'd say. Unless you're on ship, then you kind of have to. But then again, this character can't make this to where this is a true block string if she is up close. Something like this. So you can see I'm gonna try to mash spot dodge and it doesn't come out. So yeah, she'll always be -4 if you block this. And if you take the risk on the spot dodge and you're right, you get 1 extra frame. So yeah, I wouldn't say it's I wouldn't say it's worth the risk to spot dodge this move. And if you try to roll it out of curiosity, you can't. So yeah, it's just something to keep in mind. Next is her 236M, which is a pretty damn good projectile. It's a beam that travels full screen in 20 frames, which is pretty good. Pretty good if I do say so myself. If it's blocked like up close, it's like 0, something right here. It's like -4. But the further she is, then she's like even. She's not point blank. This is -4, or she is kind of point blank. She's -4. But if not, this is like 0 right here. So this can be rolled and spot dodged. You see spot dodge right there, roll right there. So depending off of like normal, it's canceled off. Frame data changes. So you see rolling that off of one of her H normals. That is +1. So be wary that it is certainly not your turn. You might see this a bit if you do try to roll it. But yeah, next is our 236H, which is the bomb. Something that is always leaves for plus. Haven't been kind of keeping track of like how much skill gauge they use. This one uses a decent amount, as you can see. Kind of just kills half of her bar. I guess if we're gonna track back to the other ones, this one right here uses 3. This one doesn't use any. So this one is always something to worry about. But yeah, anyways, tracking back to this move is plus. This move, however, can be spot dodge, as you can see right here. frame data, of course, varies depending on when you spot dodge, how far away you are when you spot dodge this move. And it can also be rolled, I'm pretty sure, so you can get a good read on a 2B player doing this, and you can punish it. Also in the corner, be done the same off of cancels. So if you're ready for it, then that's something to be on the lookout for. But assuming that was -2, you're not you're not going to be plus off of this. You will just get yourself some space, which is sometimes all you need against this character. But yeah, something to keep in mind. Next into her 236U. Her 236U, honestly, this is probably like the weakest move she has. Well, just in general, it's a good combo tool because it forces a crumble state, and then she gets can get a full combo off of that. That's not something I'm covering in this video. I'm not teaching you how to play 2B. I'm teaching you how to fight this character. But yeah, this move isn't too crazy, but I'm gonna just say this beforehand before we get into the other one, or her other ultimate skills, is that this move can both be spot dodge and rolled. But for the sake of saving you from the other one, I'd recommend that when you see blue on this character and you're not in front of her face, and it's not a DP, then you should always roll, because roll beats out both of her options when it comes to projectile that she might just throw in full screen that makes the screen blue. So yeah, when you see blue, roll. It's probably your best bet. This move doesn't use up a lot of skill gauge either, but it's something to keep in mind that even if she uses all her skill gauge, she can still use her ultimate skills regardless of if she has skill gauge left or not. As you can see, I burnt it all on this, but I'm still able to do this with no skill gauge. Next into her 2-2 series. Her 2-2 series is you're going to be seeing a lot of 2 of them. The other one is very specific off of like setups and stuff like that, but I'll cover that briefly. So first is this, the pod slam. This move has a couple different uses, but it's a pretty decent pressure reset tool for her. It's plus, and it puts her in the air at a pretty wonky positioning for a lot of like people to kind of deal with sometimes. Not too crazy, but yeah. Anyways, dealing with this move, you have a couple options. Most simple is if you see this, you can spot dodge. The earlier you spot dodge, the more plus you'll be. But if you spot dodge too early, as you can see right there, you will get yourself hit. But yeah, you can spot dodge like extremely late and still be, not. It won't be your turn, but at the very least, you'll negate the plus frames and stuff like that. But yeah, as you can see, spot dodge early enough, you might be able to get a punish. Obviously, I'm not doing a very good job at that right now. But yeah, if you're able to spot dodge this, then you can get yourself your turn back at the very least, if you're able to do this at a good time. Before you ask, no, you cannot roll this. This does hit the ground, so roll is completely off the table. But a couple other options you can do against this move in particular is one, you can try to meet her up in the air and air throw it if you're kind of ready for it. Obviously, if you're a little late, she comes down to a little before that you can do that. So this is more of a call out than anything, especially depending on distance. She might not always do it right here. She might do it off of like something like this. Then the angle makes it a lot easier to kind of catch her out of it. Of course, if you do have a DP, then you can DP her out of this, as long as your DP kind of hits this angle. Like I said before, your DP might not have the best angle for this, depending on like spacing, because you can see this from a lot of different places. This is just like very specific example. As you can see, DP is not reaching right there, and air grab is certainly not reaching from right there either. So your best not your best option, but spot dodge in like situations like this would be a pretty decent option. But yeah, let's say if you are at that distance, then jumping in itself is a pretty decent option as well. You might not get a punish, but you're in a lot better position than you were before if you were to spot dodge this right here, because then right here you may be plus barely, as you can see at that timing, but you don't have the tools to kind of deal with her just counter poking with one of these right here. You have to play a lot more guessing than you'd like to, so jumping right here is a pretty decent option to kind of get your spacing back if you're able to catch this from a move from this far. Now, under very, very specific circumstances, 2B players might like to run up and do this. She does try to do something like that. You can just walk under it. As you can see, this is very specific. This is not something you're going to be able to do, like, always. This is definitely more of a call out and a pretty risky option, but it is a valid solution to something like this. So it's just something I wanted to say to keep in mind. Next, going into 2-2M, this move honestly doesn't get a lot of use outside of its little cheeky setup that it has, but yeah, I'll go over that in a bit. Just know when she places this down, this will activate some sort of like suction thing that pulls in the opponent into the middle of this. It doesn't affect her, so she tried to just do this because it keeps pulling. So yeah, something to keep in mind. A couple of things she might like to do is something like, you know, like this, and then kind of like jump over and then kind of block button check you. So that's just something to keep in mind when you're in the corner, or just anywhere to that matter, because this does pull you right here. Actually, I lied. I'm gonna just cover this right now. It's like little setup that she likes to do. So something that they might like to do is something like this, which forces a guard crush. And then, if you remember from earlier, her close light, or not her close light, her light is 6 frames, so this forces an unblockable situation where, you know, you're gonna get hit, to say the very least. So it's just something to keep in mind. Obviously, there are options. If you see this, you know, you kind of just like, get out, so you don't have to deal with this. Because I'll cover this a bit later, but this has a sweet spot to where it will and will not work for this setup. So if you kind of just like get out of range of that in particular, so like you're closer right here, this won't work. But you see if you're right here, it forces guard pressure and she's +6 and then she can do whatever. But yeah, you kind of just get out of here. If you see that, maybe DP, but that's also risky because you never know if they're going to do it or not. This is just something that she can do, so keep in mind. Next is her 2-2H. This move has received multiple changes, but it's still kind of broken. I say kind of, but it's certainly still broken. As you can see, this takes up like half of her skill gauge, and then she can activate it whatever time she wants. But it's good to keep in mind that when she has this up, she cannot do any other specials, because her pod is activated in tracking you. This tracks you no matter where you are, the air or whatnot, and stuff like that. So this doesn't go away if you make her block. However, it will go away if you're able to hit her. However, that is a pretty tall order when you have to deal with one of these. So yeah. Honestly, this move kind of doesn't have anything you can really do about it. I'm gonna be completely honest. This is just kind of not checkmate, but it's really, really rough to deal with. I'd say, of course, it depends on who you're fighting against, because, you know, people play certain ways when they have this on. Like, they might spend it immediately. They might just like hold it and wait for you to try to do something, and then they'll spend it and it'll hit you. So yeah, it's just I'd say the safest way to go about it is when you see this, is kind of Be very careful. Start button teching to say the very least, because this is one of her highest damage starters, 100%. So I'd say be very patient. You know, she's gonna want to either throw or throw bait you for the most part. So you should be very wary of that. You know, start button teching. So you know, at the very least, you don't take 50%. You know, you might take a little like chip damage from button tech, but that isn't as bad as taking 50% from one of these. So yeah, just general stuff. Next is her 2-2U, and this is gonna be the reason why I told you guys just to roll the other thing earlier. It does this, and it pops and shoots balls from tracks you wherever you are on the screen. So let's see what happens if you spot dodge this. Really bad. You don't want that to happen. You don't want that to be you. However, what happens if you roll? It misses. So, that being said, if you see blue and you're fighting this character and you're like, you know, not in front of her face, is not going to be a DP. Cool. This is the, like, this is what you need to be doing when you see this character on the character select, or like you're loading into a match. I think this is one thing you should remind yourself every time. If you see blue, roll. Because if you spot dodge, you have a chance of dying, a 50-50 chance of dying, because they're not using 236U like ever in a situation like this, because it just gets beaten by both options. So why not do this option, which can beat out one of the two, and she's still relatively safe from doing this, especially he's going to do this from like full screen. You're not punishing her for this. But yeah, why would she do the other when she has this? Some other things you can do, if you do recognize it's this and not the other one, then you can just jump it. Obviously, not like you're getting much off of this. Like it's like that much better than the other one. But if you are close enough, you might be able to get a punish. But yeah, jumping is a valid option. If you're really godlike though, you can, if you have something like this, kind of get this on a reaction. With something like this, because this is not active immediately. Obviously, it's kind of difficult, or not that it's kind of difficult, it's just, you know, something to keep in mind, that this is possible, this is not out immediately. So if you have something like this that can kind of catch her out before it becomes active, then you can kill her for this. Next into her 2-1-4 series. Her 2-1-4 series, we'll start out with the light, of course. This one is more of a combo tool. All you need to know is that if you block this, she's -6, so have fun punishing it. Next is Chain. Chain is unique in the fact that if it connects while you have a projectile out, she goes completely through it, and she's invincible. So yeah, it's just something to keep in mind. That's one property of it. But however, if you do spot dodge this, well, you can spot dodge this, you're left at a pretty good advantage. You can also roll this as well, as you can see. It's definitely better if you could roll this and get a punish if you're right here. But you'll probably be seeing this like somewhere like here, or you know, something like this. You guys are playing like Projectile Wars, and then she kind of throws this out, because this will beat anything as long as it hits you before this comes out. Obviously, you know, you might not see it on like ultimate projectiles because this slow down and like how fast it travels, but as you can see, it does still work on ultimate projectiles, so it's just something to keep in mind. However, there's a couple like options to this if you want to block it, and you can actually punish her for it with the introduction of BC. So you can BC this early, and especially full screen. You can catch her on the way in, especially if it is full screen. seems like the best way to do it. And you can get a punish. That's something like that. Obviously, if it's like right here, you're not gonna have as much time because, you know, she's a little bit too close for you to recover fast enough for that. But however, if you do this, you're always going to be plus if you do BC this. Although, you know, you are spending a resource. So, something to keep in mind that you can opt and do this from like full screen. Next is 214H. 214H is this thing that I showed you earlier. This thing has a unique property that if it's blocked at the sweet spot right there, you see where the hammer head hits, then she is plus. However, if it's not, then she is -6. This move isn't too crazy. Like, you might see this right here. Like, maybe something like this. But besides that, it isn't too crazy. She's still plus. That's about it. It's more of a combo tool than anything. You can, however, spot dodge this, but it doesn't put you in a position that's anything great besides, you know, the fact that you just didn't block it and you didn't take chip. So yeah, something to keep in mind. As expected, you cannot roll this move. So if you just really don't want to get hit by this and you think it's coming out, spot dodge is always your friend. But for an extra like 2 frames of advantage where you're not even plus in the first place and not taking chip unless, you know, you are like in a chip out situation, I wouldn't say it's worth taking a risk on spot dodging when other things can still catch you right there. Next one, 214U. Her 214U isn't anything too special. It is literally her DP. That's about it. It covers a good chunk of distance though, like in front and behind her. So yeah, and it drags in on block. So if you do block this, it's easier to get a punish just thanks to that. But yeah, that's about it. Her DP, first active frame is 8. But the further away she is, the slower it's first active. But yeah, as you can see, -26. Yeah, it's a DP. that's about it. Now I want to go over some more like corner situations that you might see, because this character in the corner is a menace just due to the fact that she has so many different options to make herself safe and so many different positions to keep you guessing, and the risk is like the risk reward, at least the risk factor is certainly not in your favor. Reward certainly isn't that much either, due to the fact that you can play at such a distance where most characters can't contest. So I'm going to be covering a couple of these more common options that you might see. Obviously, for some of the stuff that I covered earlier, which is like, you know, like these and this, I already gave you guys the answer to them. So if you don't remember, please go back and refer to that, because I'm going to be covering those very like briefly. Just going to be tell you basically, you know, go back to what I said before. So yeah, just a little heads up. Anyways, typically when she's playing this distance, which is her specialty, you know, you'll see cancels off of anything, any like instance of a normal at all times, so she can switch it up at any time and stuff like that. But like I said before, she can keep herself safe with this pretty much, off of like anything, and she's -4 right here. So of course, depending on positioning, if it's like right here, you can't really do too much. Reaches. Sometimes it doesn't even reach. It's good for you, but you're kind of just like, you can't move forward much. You're just gonna block this. So yeah, you'll be seeing a bit of this. You might be seeing a little bit of this to kind of keep her turn and stuff like that. You might be seeing this. You might be seeing this. This one's very rare. And then more of this. I keep forgetting which input is which. You might be seeing more of this. But yeah, all the options are, as I mentioned before, for special cancels, so I would say keep those in mind when dealing with this and seeing that your opponent likes to kind of show these specific options. Because against this character, to say the very least, if you're smart, you're going to be blocking this character for a long time until they get bored and decide to kind of run up in your face. So it's just something that I'd say to keep in mind. This character, although she's like really strong in this area, she can't really force you to do anything without kind of getting into your face. And when she gets into your face is when you have the option to use your defensive option and kind of get her off of you. Hopefully get a counter hit BC and turn the tides. But yeah, let's go over some other stuff that I didn't mention before. In box strings, you know, she might like to do this. This move is a pretty decent option in her box strings because one, it's plus. Actually, I say one, but yeah, that's about it. It's plus. So this move is plus. This move right here, can't really, you know, do too much about this. Obviously, too much doesn't mean there's nothing. So let's see what you can do. So if you do know your opponent likes to opt into this a lot, then you can roll. And if you roll, you're plus. As you can see, you're +7 right there. That is enough for a grand to get one of these. Or if you're unfortunate and you know, you can't punish this, well, I think every character can punish this with a normal. But back throw is also a decent option right here, just to kind of take back space or put her in the corner is what I meant to say. As you can see. I don't think I mentioned this before, but she can actually hold this. It'll look something like this. And what happens if you try to roll this and she holds it? You get counter hit. And the recovery of your roll. So this is something she can do on a response of you trying to roll this, because roll, like I said, is the only option to kind of deal with this move. Really. So what if you know they're looking for your roll? Well, if that's the case, then you can jump. Because she is taking a big risk holding this for a whole second. So you can indeed jump over her and get yourself a punish. However, both options do have a gap, as you can see. So if your DP reaches that far, then you can kind of react to this. DP is a great option if you have one. Or even reverse the super. Because, yeah, vulnerable moves do go through this. If you were wondering about jumping on this other one, it certainly just depends on spacing. I don't think this is doable. Like, when she lets this go early, you won't be able to jump this, and then she gets a combo off of it. So I wouldn't recommend it. At least if you're like this. Not even that I wouldn't recommend it. This just doesn't work on this. So obviously, if you want to take the risk and try to jump, in order to kind of beat out a charge, then yeah, you're taking the risk of getting hit and getting comboed. So keep that in mind. Next is something that's not used a lot, but you may see it sometimes. So I'll just kind of go over this briefly. Something like this, and she'll kind of end off in one of these. So, of course, roll is your friend right here. You can jump like I did just do, but if she does kind of, like if you're too close, then you might get caught. But as you can see, jump works right there. She holds it right here. She's gonna be a lot better off to kind of punish you. That's pretty slow, but as you can see, jump may not be a valid option right there. She were to be on the lookout for that. But yeah, this is more of a guess right here. So if she does something like this, you can just kind of run up. Of course, like I said, that's a guess. If you try to run up right here, then you're gonna get caught by that. Obviously, it's not the worst position in the world. You're still getting hit, but like, it's not too bad. And last thing I'm gonna cover is sometimes she might do something like this. For a little air stall right here, because you know a lot of people will block high for a certain amount of time, and then by the time you think they're gonna hit the ground, you're gonna block low. So you know, this little air stall is certainly a thing that she can do in this situation. So what if they like to do this? You can just hit her out of it. It's not uninteractable. If you're kind of looking for this, then you can just kind of hit her out of this. So yeah, something to keep in mind. Obviously, if she does do something like this, and you're kind of fuzzing, she can catch you out of this. So it's something to keep in mind. I lied. There's actually one other thing I want to go over. I was about to close out this video, but I was like, dang, one last thing that's kind of annoying to deal with. I did mention this earlier at the beginning of the video, that she can cancel into this for a skill in order to kind of, you know, kind of get closer and stuff like that. So, dealing with this, parry cancel has a lot of uses in itself, just due to how it works as an actual parry. Because if you didn't know, because I showed this as a, like this one, the back one, as a parry before, but the startup of the dash also has a parry. So she can use this in a couple of different situations. One of them is, of course, like I mentioned how they'd use it before, is kind of just use it to kind of like take space like that. So if you're ready for it, however, you can hit her out of this, but this is where the problem arises. The problem with this is, since the parry activates on dash, you can just be a little bit too early, and you can activate the parry, which sucks. I'm gonna say this just straight up. This sucks. It's a terrible feeling. You know, you could be right on the attempt to retake your turn, but then parry activates on forward activation. So you kind of have to do a little like delay, and it's extremely hard to react to. And if you do the you choose the wrong move, then you can get punished. But like I said, you kind of have to delay it a bit, a little after the parry would activate, to be able to punish this move. And of course, it depends what she does it off of and whatnot, but you can catch her out of something like this if she does try to go for it. But like I said, the timing is very tight. Something else that she can use this for, just to point this out, is she can use this to bait brave counter. So a lot of people, myself included, like to BC after the second hit of auto combo, because you're like, oh, okay, you know, the first hit of, like, usually, you know, you'll see something like this, and you're like, oh, should I brave counter? Because if you brave counter and you do it too late, they block this and whatnot. Then, you know, you lose brave counter, you lose your turn, and, you know, pretty bad. So a lot of people will like to, you know, brave counter right here, which is, you know, as you get to high level, you'll see a lot of people do this, and that's the reason why. So, yeah, she has an alternate way to deal with this, and that is just to parry. And this, of course, works the exact same as, you know, if you weren't going to parry this, then, or you weren't going to BC this, then she kind of just, you know, she keeps her turn. You do this, boom, she beats that. If she doesn't, or if you don't, then yeah, this works as both as a pressure reset and a bait. So it's just something to keep in mind that this is an option, not just off of this, but any other situation that she might think, you know, Brave Counter might come out. And she'll use this move, and it works both as a reset if you're not ready for it, and a BC bait. So yeah, something to keep in mind when dealing with this character. One general thing that can really help you against this character is learning how to whip punish properly, and this is like the greatest like way to do so with this character having like such big like normals and them being pretty high recovery. Sometimes players will just, you know, kind of just start swinging. So being able to learn how to whip punish and stuff like that is a great tool to kind of deal with this character, you know, and people that just like to do this, because even though the normals are big, doesn't mean they can't be like interacted with. So if you can properly whip punish some of these normals, then this will help you a lot in dealing with the character, like, you know, just throwing out stuff, because it's not like it's completely uninteractable, but it's, you know, certainly hard to deal with normally. But if you can get this skill down and kind of like practice off of like certain things, like certain strings and whatnot, then it can help you a lot. So I'd say learning how to whiff punish this character, and you know what to look for to whiff punish in particular, will help you a lot when dealing with this character. So yeah, to wrap up this video, I just wanted to give the general tip of when you're playing as this character, please be patient, because this character kind of kills you for being impatient. Definitely, if you know you're trying to guess on stuff in ranges that you can't really contest, you can't really, you know, the risk is not in your favor. You know, with all the options she can show and how like kind of safe she can be with spacings and how big her normals are. So I'd say play it safe, you know, as I encourage as usual, you know, just block stuff out, because blocking gives you a lot of information, what they like to do for like pressure strings and whatnot. And the more you block, the more you can figure out how they like to run their pressure, what gaps they like to leave, and then, you know, respond accordingly with the stuff I mentioned before, with, you know, certain options, spot dodge, jump, roll, depending on the options that they show, and try to punish them for it. So yeah, hopefully the options I did show, if you didn't already know it, helps you in your future matches. And yeah, if you did enjoy it, and you know, or it helped you out in the slightest, you know, make sure to leave a like, subscribe if you're looking forward to other videos that I may have planned in the future. But yeah, also if there's any questions, then feel free to let me know in the comments. I'll respond to the best of my ability. So yep, that's gonna be it for me. You know, look forward to the next videos coming up, and I'll see you guys in another one. Peace.